General Counsel, is there a quorum?
Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling to order the June 2021 meeting of the IHCDA Board of Directors. We're meeting telephonically today pursuant to the current health emergency and the Governor's Executive Orders 20-04 and 20-09. Since we're meeting telephonically, the procedures will be a little different from those we use during our regular board meetings. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be an audio recording posted to IHCDA's website next month. At the time the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm who is present for the record. I'm Jody Golden, representing Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch. Mark Pascarella.
Here.
State Treasurer Kelly Mitchell.
Trying to find the button. Sorry, I'm here.
June Midkiff.
I'm here.
Andy Place Sr.
Here.
Michael Schottmeyer.
Present.
And Tom McGowan. And Executive Director Jacob Sipe.
I am here.
Okay, thank you. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 27th, 2021 board meeting. Are there any questions regarding the May 27th, 2021 minutes? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. We'll move on to the second portion of our agenda, the real estate portion. Please welcome Peter Nelson to present a recommendation regarding the bond volume 4% credits, Bloomington RAD 2 for the second.
Good morning, board. I am here this morning to present Bloomington RAD 2. It is the first application we received in the 2021 bond round. It consists of a total development cost of just over $54 million. They are requesting $30 million in bond volume and $2,350,461 in LIHTC to preserve 204 units of affordable housing. So this is a partnership between Bryn Shore Development and the Bloomington Housing Authority. As the name suggests, it's the second version of their RAD. So I know we saw a RAD deal that was approved earlier this year, but just as a little reminder, it is the conversion of public housing to private ownership. So it fits really well with this tax credit program, ensuring that these units remain affordable for the long term. So Bryn Shore and Bloomington Housing Authority have partnered to do one in Bloomington. It was approved a couple of years ago by this board. It is going well. So this is the second phase. It is bigger in scope than the first one. So just keeping more units affordable. This project is a 54 building public housing project in Bloomington. It consists of 1- and 2-story townhome and flat style buildings. The project contains 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. If you look at the development summary included in the board packet, you can see that it is a pretty good mix of the 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. So really targeting all kinds of residents and tenants. The scope of the rehab, major rehab, their focus is on increasing accessibility standards across the entire project. It'll have new roofing, new HVAC system, flooring, cabinets, appliances, other major systems as necessary. The site is in a really good location on the northwest side of Bloomington, just a mile away from several community amenities. There's a local park, a gym, banking, grocery, and then just really right next to the site is a local Boys and Girls Club. So a lot of things around for the residents to take advantage of. During the application round, we reviewed the application and made sure it met our criteria set forth in the 2020-2021 qualified allocation plan. And we're happy to recommend the full bond volume and credit allocation for this project. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. Board, do you have any questions for Peter? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $30 million in bond volume and $2,350,461 in annual LIHTC to Bloomington RAD 2 LP for Bloomington RAD 2 according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Great. Thank you, Peter. Sorry, I jumped over you. Okay, board, hearing the resolution, do I have a motion?
Andy Place, motion for approval.
Okay, I have a
June
motion.
Mitchell. I second it. June Midka.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. Okay, Peter, I believe you're going to present another recommendation regarding the Misty Glen apartments.
Yes, Misty Glen Apartments is the 6th application we received and reviewed this round. Total development cost of just over $9 million. They are requesting $6.5 million in bond volume and $309,748 in LIHTC, and they are preserving 80 units of affordable housing. This project is done by Flaherty and Collins Development, LLC. They are an experienced tax credit developer. And this is an existing tax credit project in Hebron, Indiana. Existing as in currently outside of its 15-year compliance period, in its extended use period, and eligible for resyndication, which they are coming back in to preserve these units. So this project is 5 buildings containing 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. Exactly half of the units are the 2-bedroom, and then the other half are split between the 1 and 3 bedroom. The scope of the rehab is, this one has a little more exterior work being done than we typically see, but they are doing new paving across the entire lot to really focus on improving some of the drainage of the exterior areas. That's definitely needed. And then they are adding new roofing, updated heating and cooling systems, new appliances in all the units, fixtures, finishes, and then again, some additional work to increase accessibility standards. I think that's kind of a common theme that we've seen in recent projects that have come in that have been approved this year, is some of these older projects coming in for rehab are really needing accessibility updates. So it's good to see that all these projects are really making those efforts and updating those standards. This site has amenities that include a playground, club room, computer room, and fitness center, all for the residents. All are being updated as part of the rehab as needed. And then this site is also within close proximity to a lot of local amenities, pharmacy, daycare, restaurants, retail shops. So a lot of things necessary for daily living that residents will be able to take advantage of. This project was reviewed and met the criteria set in the 2020-2021 qualified allocation plan, and we are recommending the full allocation of bond volume and credits for this project. Are there any questions?
Okay, no questions for Peter. Peter, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Great. The staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $6,500,000 in bond volume and $309,748 in annual LIHTC to Misty Glen 2021 LC for Misty Glen Apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve. June Midka.
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay, well, next item on our agenda, please welcome Alan Rakowski to present a recommendation regarding the bond volume 4% credits for Douglas Point, the third apartments.
Yes, thank you. Again, this is Alan Rakowski. I'm the Director of Real Estate Allocation and have two bond recommendations for you today, the first of which is Douglas Point 3 apartments. This application came in as part of this year's bond round. It was the fourth application we received, total development cost of $9.1 million, requesting $6.7 million in bond volume and $343,086 in tax credits. This is also going to be preserving, similar to the last one, an existing tax credit property, so it's existing 64 units of affordable housing. Flaherty & Collins is also the developer on this one, so they're proposing the rehab of the tax credit project. It's located in Hammond. The project is 4 buildings, each with 16 two-bedroom units. Scope of work includes what we typically see: site work, drainage, similar to the last one, roofing, door and window replacements, updated heating and cooling, accessibility updates, appliances, fixtures, and finishes. So overall, it will dramatically increase the desirability and marketability of a tax credit project that's already fully occupied. This project was reviewed against the 2020-2021 QAP, and we reviewed it to ensure it met the requirements. And we are recommending today the amount that they're requesting in bond volume and tax credits. And at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, board, do you have any questions for Alan? Okay, hearing none, Alan, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests that the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve awarding $6,700,000 in bond volume and $343,086 in annual LIHTC to Douglas Point 2021 LLC for Douglas Point 3 apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion for approval. Andy Place, sorry.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Mike Schotmeyer.
Thank you, Michael. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. All right, Alan, I think you're going to tell us a little bit more about the Emerald Point apartments and the recommendation regarding those.
Yes, correct. So the second project I have is Emerald Point Apartments. This is also one requesting bond volume and 4% credits. It's similar, so you'll see this one and the last two are all similar types of projects that they're proposing to preserve existing affordable housing that's currently tax credit and proposing to preserve it. This was the fifth application we received this year. The total development cost is just over 17 million with 17 million in bond volume and 674,946 in tax credits. And this will be preserving 168 units of affordable housing in South Bend. This project is being proposed by Flaherty & Collins LLC. It's a fairly large project consisting of 12 buildings, including a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. Similar scope of work, new paving and drainage, roofs, accessibility and unit work, updated heating and cooling systems, and fixtures and finishes. Also, it's in a good location. It's surrounded by amenities, including medical centers, restaurants, retail stores, pharmacy, and athletic center. And also connected to the South Bend Transit bus system. It was also reviewed according to the requirements in the 2020-2021 QAP, and it met those requirements. So our recommendation is the full amount they've requested in bond volume and annual tax credits. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Hey, Alan, it's Andy Place. I'm from South Bend. I don't even know where this is located.
Yeah, so this is located up close to the toll road. It's northeast of Notre Dame, kind of nestled up pretty close to the toll road. So I think it's off of Douglas Road up there.
Okay.
So yeah, not necessarily right in a major thoroughfare, just kind of tucked away a little bit up fairly on the northeast side of South Bend.
Okay.
Any other questions for Alan? Okay, Alan, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Okay, staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve awarding 17 million in bond volume and 674,946 in annual LIHTC to Emerald Point 2021 LLC for Emerald Point Apartments according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
You have a second?
Second, June Midkiff.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Alan. We appreciate it. Motion passes.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next item on our agenda. So please welcome Holly Lester to present a recommendation for the Home Community Housing Development Organization Pre-Development Loans Community Action Program of Western Indiana and Blue River Services.
Good morning, board. Thank you. Yes, there are two requests from community housing development organizations, two different community housing development organizations, which we call CHODOs, as part of the Home Investment Partnerships program. These can be used to develop affordable housing for low-income households. Home provides funding for new construction and rehabilitation of home buyer and rental projects, and can also be used for pre-development activities of community housing development organizations. CHODOs are IHCDA certified, not-for-profit housing organizations that meet home regulations related to CHODOs. The home regulations define two types of pre-development loans available to CHODOs: site control loans, which are to be used when the site has not yet been acquired, to assist CHODOs in the early stages of development. And the second type is seed money loans, which may be accessed once the site has been acquired to cover pre-construction costs. The maximum any eligible CHODO may request for either loan per project is $30,000. The IHCDA Real Estate Department accepts applications to the CHODO Pre-Development Loan Fund on a rolling basis until funds set aside for CHODO activities have been expended. Staff reviews each application to ensure the proposed costs are eligible under the home regulations and the organization's the federal definition of a CHODO. The interest rate on the loan is 0% with a repayment term of 24 months. The loan may be repaid from a construction loan or other project income. As per home guidelines, IHCDA may forgive the loan in whole or in part if there are impediments to project development, which IHCDA determines are reasonably beyond the control of the CHODO. So the first request we have is from Blue River Services. They are requesting a $20,000 CHODO pre-development loan that will assist with fees, a market study, and gaining site control for a rental new construction development in Carefree, Indiana. This development, for which it plans to apply for funding in future home application rounds, would bring 10 units of much needed affordable housing for residents of Crawford County. The second request is from the Community Action Program Incorporated of Western Indiana, abbreviated as CAPWE. They are requesting a $30,000 CHODO pre-development loan that will assist with architectural plans and site surveys for its Attica 2021 development, a new construction rental development in Attica, Indiana. This development would provide 9 new units of affordable housing in Attica, Indiana, and they are requesting this as a $30,000 pre-development seed money loan. So Blue River Services is requesting site control pre-development loan, and CAPWE is requesting a pre-development seed money loan. And as far as key performance indicators, IHCDA will track the following key performance indicators regarding CHODO pre-development loans. We will track the utilization of this resource by our CHODO partners as it relates to our increased outreach and efforts to increase the number of IHCDA certified CHODOs. And we will also track the percentage of home projects utilizing pre-development loans that are successful in their home applications. And let's see. So our recommendation is that the board approves awarding home CHODO pre-development loans in an aggregate amount not to exceed $50,000 to the applicants. That's $20,000 to Blue River Services for Carefree Meadows and $30,000 to CAPWE for their Attica 2021 development. Are there any questions?
Any questions, board, for Holly? Okay, hearing none, Holly, are we ready for your resolution?
All right. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution, that the board approves awarding home dodo pre-development loans in an aggregate amount not to exceed $50,000 to the applicants as set forth in Table A as recommended by staff.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Any place, motion for approval?
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. Please welcome Samantha Spurgel to present on the Anchor Employer Workforce Housing Demonstration Program, the Kosciuszko Development Land Trust.
Good morning. Thank you. So this is our third request for funding through our Anchor Employer Workforce Housing Demonstration Program. In brief, this was a program that IHCDA created in 2019 to help create and support public-private partnerships with anchor employers to better invest in workforce housing across the state of Indiana. In June of 2019, we released a request for proposals to solicit applications to different anchors throughout the state and selected 4. Through this initiative, we have one of those anchor employers that was selected is Zimmer Biomet in Kosciuszko County, and today they are requesting funding. They're $1 million to support an acquisition fund for workforce housing within the county. The Kosciuszko Development Land Trust, or KDLT, which is an Indiana non-for-profit, will serve as the revolving loan fund coordinator. The fund is limited to acquisition costs and some pre-development costs to allow the land trust to be able to acquire land in coordination with the various units, local government, and other partners in the county. And then from that fund, they will accept other proposals from developers to support the production of workforce housing. It's important to note that the fund can support projects either proposing rental or units for purchase. And those projects may involve either ultimately rehabilitation, adaptive reuse, or new construction. And with all of our anchor employer projects, I also want to note that we have not defined what workforce housing is. It is very much driven by the market and by those that are actively working on the production of workforce housing with each of our grantees, or not grantees, each of our recipients. So with that, Zimmer Biomet, as part of their match requirement, will provide their match as part of a deficiency guarantee to the program for the fund. IHCDA will support an open line of credit with KDLT. That open revolving line of credit will involve distributions, which will be made to cover those incurred costs, as mentioned earlier. The actual waterfall is included in the memo, as well as the attached term sheet. And with that, I will pause and see if there are any questions.
Or do you have any questions for Samantha? Okay, Samantha, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Thank you very much. So staff recommends the approval of awarding an opening revolving line of credit in an amount not to exceed $1 million to the Kosciuszko Development Land Trust under the Anchor Employer Workforce Housing Demonstration Program. And thus, staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding an open revolving line of credit in an amount not to exceed $1 million to the Kosciuszko Development Land Trust under the Anchor Employer Workforce Housing Demonstration Program as recommended by staff.
Okay.
Word
Staff,
soup.
right. Board, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve June Midkiff.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank
Samantha.
you.
We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Please welcome Jeff Z to present the Emergency Housing Voucher Program. Welcome, Jeff.
Good morning. So yeah, I am here to discuss the Emergency Housing Voucher Program. I'm excited to kind of share some about this program with the board. This was a program that was created by Congress through the American Rescue Plan. They allocated funds to HUD to create a new program to target vouchers towards households that were experiencing homelessness. So in early May of this year, HUD released guidance identifying their rules and regulations for this program and announcing allocations to public housing authorities around the country. So in addition to IHCDA, there's also 6 other PHAs in the state of Indiana that are receiving allocations for this program. IHCDA's allocation is the largest at 323 vouchers. And these vouchers can be used to serve households who are experiencing homelessness throughout Indiana. And we have, through the guidance that HUD issued for the program, they required us to enter into a MOU with the Balanced Estates Continuum of Care to receive referrals for the program. So IHCDA is in the process of executing a MOU with the Balanced Estate Continuum of Care. That is Exhibit B of this memo. And that MOU will establish how referrals are made to IHCDA for this program. So the Balanced Estates COC maintains the coordinated entry list for I think it's 17 regions around the state, and they will, that list is constantly updated with households in those regions that are experiencing homelessness, and they will be pulling referrals from those lists and providing them to us so that we can issue them emergency housing voucher and get those households housed. So this program is based on the normal housing choice voucher program that I think the board is probably familiar with. So there's a lot of similarities to it. The rental assistance is tied to the household, so they can take it with them wherever they want, find a unit on the private market. It's not necessarily tied to a specific project like our project-based voucher assistance. Additionally, the rental assistance is tied to the household's income. So if the household's portion of rent is always equal to 30% of their income for the month, which is the national standard for affordability. These vouchers have been provided to IHCDA through September 30th, 2023. So we will have until that time to utilize the 323 vouchers. However, they do not go away for households that are receiving those vouchers after September 2023. Those households that are on the program in September 2023 will continue to receive assistance, but it will just be rolled into our normal housing choice voucher program rather than this special voucher program. So what I'm asking for approval for today is a amendment to our HCV administrative plan. We're creating a new chapter of the administrative plan, chapter 18, which is going to outline the rules and regulations for how we will run this program as an agency. One difference from the normal HCV program is that HUD has also provided us with services funding, so we can provide households with some services to help with their housing search assistance. So we can provide them, knowing that these households are coming out of being homeless, they often don't have money for security deposit or may need some help finding housing. So HUD has provided us with $3,500 per voucher to provide security deposit assistance and do those types of activities that will lower some of the barriers to these households receiving assistance. So with that, I can take any questions from the board.
Any questions for Jeff? Okay, Jeff, I think we're ready for your resolution.
All right. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the attached amendment for the 2021 IHCDA administrative plan as recommended by staff.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Andy Place, motion to approve.
We have a
Mike
second?
Schotmeyer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Please welcome Veronica Watson to present the Individual Development Account Program Administrator approval.
Good morning, board. Thank you for having me on today. I'm here to request approval for the next round of awards of individual development accounts. These accounts provide a match savings opportunity for low-income individuals to set goals, save, purchase eligible assets, and eventually attain greater self-sufficiency. This year, staff was recommending $540,750 be made available to IDA administrators. The funds will be available for agencies to use for up to 4 years, and the majority will be used as match for participant savings up to $4,500 per account. In addition to the match funds, IDA administrators will have access to $750 per account for administrative costs. So as a brief overview of the program, the match funds are provided to participants at a rate of 3-to-1, so that the participants can save up to $1,500 to receive the $4,500 in match. The combined $6,000 in savings and match can then be used to purchase a home or a vehicle, or to cover costs related to education or job training, small business, a startup or expansion, or on home repairs. IDA administrators work with the participants through their savings and purchase process, as well as through the required financial education that all participants must get before making their asset purchase. So for this year, we opened the application for 2021 administrators in March and kept it open for 4 weeks. All applications were reviewed based on their previous experience with the IDA program or similar programs, the number of counties they plan to serve, their plans for recruiting participants, for fulfilling the educational requirements, and overall how IDA fits with their organization's mission. Applications had to score at least 60 points out of 100 in order to pass threshold and be qualified to administer IDA accounts. And this year we received 20 applications, 2 of which were from organizations that have not received regular IDA accounts in the past. Of those 20, 1 application did fail to pass threshold and so was disqualified from receiving accounts this year. The total number of requested accounts was 174, and with the funding proposed to be used, we can fill 103 accounts. This year, we based the recommendation of the number of accounts on a couple of different criteria, starting with any new agencies or agencies that received accounts in the past year but did not open any accounts. Their recommendation was automatically set to 5. If any returning agency requested 5 or fewer, we're recommending they receive their full request. And of the remaining agencies, of which I believe there are only 3 or 4, they receive either 45% of their request or 5 accounts, whichever is higher. So over the next 4 years, the key performance indicators that we will track include the number of accounts that are opened, and of those, how many are ultimately used for asset purchases, as well as the types of purchases that are ultimately made. So with all of that, the staff is recommending that $540,750 in IDA funding be awarded to the applicants as set forth in Table A of your memo for the 2021 to 2025 program round. And I'm happy to take any questions about that.
Okay, board, do you have any questions?
Veronica, Mike Schotmeyer, refresh my memory. Did you say $750 of admin fees for a $4,500 program?
Per account, yes. So $4,500 is match provided to the participant, and then $750. The $750 is split. $500 is reimbursement based, so it's not necessarily tied to performance, but the remaining $250 is. So they can only draw on that once a participant has met certain benchmarks within the program.
Good.
Any other questions for Veronica? Okay, Veronica, I think we're ready for the resolution.
All right, staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding IDA funding in the aggregate amount not to exceed $540,750 to the applicants as set forth in Table A to administer the IDA program for the program term beginning July 1, 2021 and ending on July 30th, 2025, as recommended by staff.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Whoops, I had myself muted. I vote to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Any place, second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great, the motion passes. Veronica, I think you're gonna stick around and present to us the 2021-2022 individual development account tax credit allocation approval.
Yes, these tax credits help IDA administrators raise private funds for their IDA programs, specifically to increase the number of accounts that they manage. The way the funding works is that administrators distribute tax credits to donors in exchange for a financial contribution. The tax credits are worth 50% of that contribution and can be used on the donor's state tax liability. So put another way, if a donor contributes $200 to the IDA program, they are eligible for a $100 state tax credit. Each year, $200,000 total in tax credits is available for distribution by IDA administrators. Based on this year's applications, staff is recommending making $171,125 available in tax credits to IDA administrators that applied for this round. If fully distributed, that would lead to just over $342,000 in funding for IDA accounts. Roughly 20% of that is eligible for administrative costs, while the rest is to be used as match. Individual development accounts that are funded by tax credits are supposed to follow all the same program rules, including the 3-to-1 match, a 3-to-1 match rate, and the $4,500 maximum match amount. The one exception to that are the accounts managed by the Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership, or INHP, who is a longtime participant in this program. Our rule that tax credit accounts must be treated the same as regular accounts is very recent, was actually only started to be codified in guidance last year, while INHP has always provided $2,400 in match as a part of their regular homebuyer program. They have requested to continue using that match amount, and based on their success with this program and the fact that they do not handle regular IDA accounts, staff has gone ahead and based their recommended award amount on that different match amount. For this year's application, it was combined with the regular IDA application, since the questions about the applicant organization and how their IDA program would be run is largely the same as the regular IDA program. So this allowed agencies to have to only explain their programs once and allowed us at IHCDA to review that information only once as well. And everything we reviewed for the IDA program was taken into account for the IDA tax credit program. For this year, 5 agencies indicated on their applications that they would like IDA tax credits. Only 1 agency did not meet threshold. For the remaining 4, we are recommending they receive the tax credits that they requested, which allows for 75 additional IDA accounts to be opened. As for key performance indicators, in the past, we have tracked credits that administrators successfully distribute, and we'll continue to track those as we share that information with DOR so that they can facilitate the tax credits. We've also begun asking for regular updates on accounts opened with tax credit funding. From last year's allocation, we know of at least 32 that were open and 14 have already been used for a purchase. So with all of that, staff is recommending allocating $171,125 in tax credits to the applicants as set forth in Table A, and I'm happy to take any questions about that.
Any questions for Veronica? Okay, Veronica, I think we're ready for your resolution.
All right, staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve allocating IDA tax credits in an aggregate amount not to exceed $171,125 to the applicants as set forth in Table A, as recommended by staff.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Veronica. The motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to section 4 of our agenda today, asset preservation. Please welcome Rich Harcourt to present the Indiana Homeowner Assistance Fund plan.
Good morning, board. I am here to request your permission to approve our initial plan for the Indiana Homeowners Assistance Fund. So as part of the American Rescue Plan, $9.9 billion was approved in funding to help for homeowners assistance. And of that $9.9 billion, Indiana received an allocation of $167 million. So this is these dollars are somewhat similar to the hardest hit fund that we were just now wrapping up as of June 30th of this year. So call in that program, there were 18 states that got hardest hit funds. And over the course of that time period in that program began, as a result of the 9-10 recession. We distributed $186 million worth of funds, assisting a little over 12,000 homeowners. And this plan really kind of represents a continuance of that, at least on an initial basis. So we're requesting your approval of that draft plan. We will initially go to market trying to help homeowners with mortgage assistance in 3 different ways. First will be just helping with current payments. Second would be a reinstatement of past due balances. As you all are probably aware, homeowners have been allowed to apply for forbearance assistance if they have a Freddie, Fannie, or Ginnie loan, and that leads to balloon payments that are coming due, and we'll be allowed to assist with those balloon payments. And then also we'll have a combination of those two where we'll be able to do not only a reinstatement of loans, but also help with current payments for a period of time. The requirements for participation in the program would be that applicants have to be at or below 140% of AMI. And in that, 60% of the eligible homeowners have to be less than 100% AMI. And that 60% of eligible homeowners less than 100% AMI was easy for us to accomplish in our HHF program. We hit that goal as well. We anticipate trying to have the initial portion of this program stood up in the 3rd quarter of this year, maybe the early part of the 4th quarter. We anticipate that we'll be able to assist up to 10,000 homeowners in Indiana. The program does run through June 30th of 26. And we will go to market with 10 HUD-approved housing counselors helping and assisting homeowners with application. And those counselors range from, I think we have a couple in all the way into Vanderburgh County, all the way up to one in South Bend and all across the state. So we'll have good coverage of housing counselors assisting with the program. We do anticipate that you'll be seeing this program again, as that it's a new program. Treasury has provided some guidance to date on what we can and can't do with the program. There is more guidance left to come, and I suspect with that more optionality about what we can do. So this will again be our first ask for an approval, and it's all geared towards speed to market. We're trying to get the program stood up as quick as we can and get into the market and help with homeowners with housing assistance. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll stand back and take questions if you would, please.
Board, is there any questions for Rich?
Rich, did you say it's good until 2026? Is that how long the program goes?
Yeah, it's good until it's June 30, 26. Yes, June.
Any other questions? Okay, Rich, we're ready for the resolution.
Thank you. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve IHCDA's HAP program detailed in Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Okay, board, do we have a motion?
Any place, motion for approval?
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Rich. All right, next we'll move on to the 5th section of our agenda today, the legal section. So please welcome David Stewart to present an update on the IHCDA Board of Directors electronic participation in board meetings policy. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Good morning, board. As board chair stated, we are just giving an update on this policy. I had sent out copies of the policy, and basically what we want to do today is to refresh everyone about it and also see if anyone has any questions or comments about the policy as it sits. As you know, the policy was voted on by you in March of 2020, and just right before everything got a little crazy. And we were lucky in that respect to already have a policy in place, as a lot of agencies now are scrambling, trying to get things together. But the only issue that I think some people might have is that on April 20th, 2021, Governor Holcomb signed Public Law 88-2021, and there were some questions about whether or not that would affect our policy as it sits. And as you know, our policy basically says that as long as we have 3 members of the board at one location, that we're able to have other members communicate electronically and be considered part of the meeting, part of the quorum, and be able to vote. The only difference that would happen for us if we do that is that all votes have to come in by roll call. So that'd be the only difference for the chair, was that she would have to do a roll call vote on all of the votes that are taken. But given the fact that we sent this out, I know that people have had a chance to read it. Are there any questions on what we have, or does anyone have any suggestions about it as it sits right now?
So
And like I said, I'm
I
sorry,
thought
go
I
ahead.
had a copy of it sitting here. I don't have one, David. Describe, especially for Andy and I, how often we need to, be in person under the new policy.
Okay. The way it works is, and if you bear with me, I can give you some basics about all of it, in line. First of all, we have to have at least 3 members of the board physically present at the place where the meeting is technically conducted. So that could be here at IHCDA, that could be at the Lieutenant Governor's office, that could be at Treasurer Mitchell's office, that could be at any office, as long as we have 3 board meetings and 3 board members present. That is the first requirement. The second requirement is that the other board members have to be able to communicate electronically, with the group. Now, there is no requirement that there be camera communication. That is not in there. So it can be like Mr. Pasquarella is doing today. It can be like that as long as you're present and counted. Also, the board members have to physically attend 1 meeting a year. So it's only 1. I know, Michael, that you were asking about that. I know that Andy had some questions about that, but it's only 1 meeting a year that you have physically attend for this policy to be in effect. Now, I will note that it does state in here in our policy that if a member wants to participate this way, they have to notify the board secretary at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. That's one of those things that I kicked it around with our public access counselor, Luke Britt, and that part is pretty flexible, because it's very, very possible that someone could be somewhere they didn't expect to be on the morning of the board meeting, or maybe that evening before, and contact us and say, hey, I want to come and do the meeting tomorrow, but I'll be remote, or I'll be doing it by communication, and we can honor that and get that set up. So I don't want anyone to think that they have to miss a meeting because they didn't give us 2 days notice. And so that part is flexible based on the information that I got, based on, however we can set it up. And as I stated in the information, the House and Road Act 1437 that was passed has really no effect on the policy that you approved last March. That answer everyone's questions? Okay. And we are working on getting everything set up. Of course, all the other requirements are still there, as would be with any meeting that we have to broadcast to the public and all those kind of things. But I have to give the board credit for having the foresight to put this in place last March, prior to everything, getting a little crazy, because we're not running around like a lot of places are trying to get things in place. So kudos to you.
And General Counsel,
Jake,
you don't have a resolution, do you? You were just giving an
No.
update?
No.
Okay.
This is just an update, and I wanted to see if the board had any questions. Did you have anything to add, Jake, or no?
No, I don't have anything else to add. Just want to make sure we're all good as we begin the transition to go have our meetings in person again.
Okay. All right. If there are no questions, thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, we'll move on to the sixth piece of our agenda. Welcome to Jacob, and he'll provide an executive update.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the IHCDA board. A few updates I'd like to provide with you today. And the first one is related to the escalation of construction costs that we're seeing across the housing industry. It's very well documented that we're seeing a skyrocket in lumber prices, which actually is about 300% increase between April 2020 and May of 2021. This has caused an average price increase just for the lumber of about $36,000 for a single family home. And that's about $13,000 on the multifamily side since April of 2020. So these lumber costs and other building material costs are obviously adding additional strain onto the housing market in terms of production. And in fact, the lumber costs have come down recently in the last couple of weeks, but they're still 210% higher than they were a year ago. As you look at the OSB prices, they're up 380% over last year. So that is having, putting a strain on us as well. As you remember, in February, we awarded our multifamily rental housing tax credits to developments that had priced out really last summer and in the late summer of last year under pricing conditions that are not relevant today, that have drastically changed. In addition to that, the 4% credit was locked into place, which is great for the housing industry using the multifamily bonds, which we saw today. However, because that credit is now at 4%, it is providing additional credit availability for investors. And there is just a limited number of investors that are out there, which is we're starting to just begin to see a decrease in the value, the pricing of those credits. And so that is also starting to have an adverse effect on the ability for developers to raise equity. So we're at the beginning of seeing some challenges here and some strains on our awards that we made really just at the beginning of this year and last year for developments that have not closed yet. And so I know I want to point out that Matt Rayburn on our team and Alan Rakowski have been having some calls with the Indiana Affordable Housing Council regarding these concerns on recent tax credit awards and looking at the impact it's having on our construction and our building materials for these developments that have not broken ground yet. So, well, obviously we don't want to see these deals stall. We ran into that back in 2008. We had a serious issue where developments took, 2 years to get going because they stalled out when it comes to the financing. And so we're working with the Affordable Housing Council on trying to think through what are some potential ways in which we might be able to address these challenges that we're experiencing. So we obviously want to keep this pipeline of development going. We definitely need to continue to preserve and produce new affordable housing across our state, whether it be multifamily or single family. So we're continuing to engage the housing industry and our developers and the finance equity syndicators on this challenge that's in front of us right now. So I'll pause and just in case if anyone had any thoughts or comments on this escalating construction cost that we're experiencing right now.
Jake, I know that Habitat is having a hard time with the partner families qualifying for the new pricing on a non-interest rate mortgage. It's really getting to be a problem.
Yeah, and there's obviously on the single family side a limited number of production that's happening right now, and with very low inventory, obviously that is also increasing single family home cost just to buy a home, and they're staying on the market in a very short period of time. So yeah. So with that, there is some good news as it relates to the single family side. Our home ownership volume continues to outpace any other year that we've had in the past, even with a limited inventory. You know, right now in 2021 at this time, we're at about 1,300. We're just over 1,300. We're pushing 1,400 loans with a mortgage volume of about 212 million. You compare that to 2020, we were at 1,100 loans and our mortgage volume was 155 million. So we are over, we're pushing $70 million more on mortgage volume this year compared to last year. And you compare that to 2019, at this time, we're at 127 million. So today we're at 212 million in mortgage, single family mortgage loan volume. And you look at that in 2019, we're at 127 million. So the single family team is really working hard, and we're at numbers that are far outpacing anything that we've ever done in the past. So even with this limited inventory and with some limited new construction on entry level single family homes. So Rich presented the Housing Assistance Fund, and just a quick recap on that. One of the things that we did do on June 7th was release a request for proposals on the Housing Assistance Fund for an entity to help us with administering the program. That deadline for those organizations to respond to the RFP was June 21st, so on Monday. We did receive 15 responses on administering the Housing Assistance Fund. So those responses, obviously, we're going to be reviewing those and looking to partner with an organization to assist us in the administration and implementation of the Housing Assistance Fund. Our goal is to get a recommendation to the IHCDA board by next month, so that we can get that in place and begin the Housing Assistance Fund, begin that implementation. So our goal is to get that to you with a recommendation at the July board meeting on. Next month also, I want to give you an update on the Hardest Hit Fund. The program actually comes to an end, sunsets on July 1st. So we have a few more days. We're processing the last remaining applications. And so we want to get you an update on what we've been able to accomplish and how many homeowners we've been able to assist since really since the pandemic started in April. Obviously, we were right on top of that, working with the U.S. Department of Treasury. The program was set to expire last year, and with conversations with Treasury, they allowed us to extend it for another year. And so we want to get you the results of what we've been able to accomplish during that time. So we'll get that for you in July with an update on the Hardest Hit Fund. So the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance update, just a real quick update here on that. The federal CDC eviction moratorium ends on June 30th. And so obviously there's a lot of concerns out there with the potential impact that will have when it comes to evictions across the state, and what that's going to look like. I was asked to attend, and I did participate and provided an overview of the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program at an eviction forum at the State House earlier this week. One of the takeaways that I had from that forum was that what we're hearing and what we're seeing on the data is from some of the experts out there as it comes to the eviction filing process, which is a judicial process that is not affiliated with IHCDA. IHCDA is not a judicial branch of the state of Indiana. But what we are hearing based on some of the data early on is that the highest needs of our areas that are faced with this eviction challenge is our larger metropolitan cities. That's what we're seeing. And just a reminder, the emergency rental assistance program in the state of Indiana, there are 6 large municipalities that are implementing their own program. And those 6 include Elkhart County, Hamilton County, Lake County, Marion County, St. Joseph County, and the city of Fort Wayne. So they're operating their own programs, but what we're hearing is that's where the largest need is, and that's where the largest challenges are for the evictions. Now we're covering the 86, 85 counties for the state for the rental assistance as well. So right now we've approved just under 8,000 renter households for assistance. And so we do have still a large number of applications that we're processing. I know the team's working really hard to get those through so that we can provide assistance to these households. So if there are any renters out there that are faced with some housing instability as it relates to being behind on their rent or being adversely impacted from the pandemic, we encourage them to go to indianahousingnow.org. If they're having some challenges on submitting an application, maybe it's with technology, maybe they're not comfortable with or don't have access to the internet or think something like that, we do have a great partnership with Indiana 211, and we have trained staff at Indiana 211 who can assist and submit an application on behalf of the renter there as well. So we do recognize that we may have some households who may not have the ability to submit an application online, but with our partnership with Indiana 211, that process can still happen. So, so there's an update for the rental assistance program. Our next meeting for July, just a reminder, it'll be at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We are planning to have that meeting in person, and I appreciate Dave bringing back and sharing with you our policy as it comes to in-person board meetings, which we're planning to implement on July 22nd, which is the 4th Thursday in July. That's our next meeting. We're planning for it to be in person here at 30 South Meridian. And so we'll give you some more details on that. But I did want to make sure, and I appreciate Dave briefing you on our policy as it relates to the board meeting. So I look forward to hopefully get a chance to see all of you again in person, which I know it's been a while, but I'm really excited to get back and to be in the same room with all of you and see you and have our first in-person board meeting in well over a year. So, Madam Chair, that's my update for the month of June.
Great. Thank you, Jake. Any questions for Jake, board? Okay. Is there any other business to come before the board? If none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I mean, a motion to adjourn. Sorry.
I second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. None opposed. We will adjourn at 11:04. Thank you, board.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.